I didn't know what it was at first, just something heavy at the bottom of my backpack. I thought it was junk, something I forgot, something harmless. When I placed it on the counter at the police station, the room went silent. One officer slowly stood up. Another reached for the door lock, and the desk sergeant whispered, "Sir, where did you get this?" That's when I realized I wasn't leaving. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you're listening from. My name is Daniel Rourke. I'm 61 years old. I live in Spokane, Washington, and the object I found in my backpack turned my ordinary morning into the longest day of my life. The station smelled like old coffee and disinfectant, the kind of smell you only notice when your nerves are already tight. I stood at the counter, my backpack open in front of me, the object resting between us like it had weight beyond its size. No one touched it, not yet. The desk sergeant, mid-40s, tired eyes, kept staring at the thing as if it might suddenly move on its own. "Sir," he said again, slower this time, "where did you get this?" "I told you," I replied. "It was in my backpack." I don't know how it got there. That was the truth, and the fact that it was the truth made it worse. One of the younger officers had quietly moved to lock the front door. The click echoed through the station. My stomach dropped. "I'm not under arrest," I said quickly. "Am I?" No one answered. Instead, the sergeant picked up the phone and spoke into it in a low voice. "We need a supervisor out front, now." He hung up, then finally looked at me. "Mr. Rourke," he said, reading from my ID, "I need you to step back from the counter." I did exactly what he asked, slowly, carefully. My hands were suddenly sweating. The object wasn't large, roughly the size of a thick paperback book, dark metal casing, scratched edges, a faint seam running along one side, no buttons, no screen, just a small red symbol etched into the corner. I hadn't noticed that symbol before. "Is that a bomb?" I asked, my voice barely steady. Sergeant didn't say yes. He didn't say no either. "That depends," he said quietly, "on whether it's active." My heart slammed against my ribs. "I take public buses," I blurted out. "I walked here. I've been carrying that thing all morning." That seemed to change the mood. The younger officer swallowed hard. "How long?" he asked. I checked my watch out of pure instinct. "Since about 6:30, I said. "So almost 4 hours." No one spoke. Then the sergeant said something that made my knees weak. "If it was active," he said, "you wouldn't be standing here." That was not comforting. I tried to rewind my morning in my head. I woke up at 5:30 like I always do. Old habit from years of early shifts. Made coffee. Packed my backpack for the day, notebooks, lunch, my reading glasses. Nothing unusual. I didn't check the bottom pocket. I never do. Why would I? I live alone. No kids, no roommates, no visitors. Which meant one of two things was true. Either the object had been in my backpack for a long time and I somehow never noticed, or someone put it there. Recently, the supervisor arrived, a woman in her early 50s, sharp eyes, calm voice. She didn't ask me questions right away. She looked at the object first. Then she looked at me. "Sir," she said, "I need you to tell me everything you did yesterday, everywhere you went, everyone you spoke to." So I did: work, grocery store, the library, home. Nothing strange, no arguments, no confrontations, no angry strangers, just an ordinary day, which somehow made this worse. The supervisor nodded slowly. "Did anyone have access to your backpack?" she asked. I shook my head. "It was with me the whole time." She exchanged a glance with the sergeant. That glance said something unsaid, something heavy. She picked up a small flashlight and leaned closer to the object, careful not to touch it. Then her face changed. Not panic, recognition. "Okay," she said, straightening up. "I need everyone to stay calm." That sentence never helps. "We're evacuating the building," she continued, "and we're calling the bomb squad." The words hit me like cold water. "I didn't do anything," I said immediately. "You know that, right?" She met my eyes. "I believe you," she said, "and that's what worries me." They moved me to a small interview room at the back. No windows, gray walls, metal table bolted to the floor. They took my backpack. They did not take my phone, which meant they weren't treating me like a suspect. Yet, I sat alone for 20 minutes, then 30. Through the thin walls, I heard muffled voices, footsteps, radios crackling. At one point, I heard someone say, "Make sure nobody else came in with one." With one, plural. My mouth went dry. Eventually, the supervisor returned. She closed the door behind her and sat across from me. "Mr. Rourke," she said, "I'm going to ask you a question." I need you to answer honestly. I nodded. Have you ever worked in government, defense, or research? She asked. No, I said immediately. I'm an accountant, retired. Any military background? No. Any overseas travel in the last year? No. She studied my face carefully. Do you know what an inert trigger housing is? She asked. I blinked. No, she exhaled slowly. That object in your backpack, she said, is part of a larger device. My chest tightened. A larger device where? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she slid a photo across the table. It showed the object I'd brought in but connected to wires. And then another photo. A backpack, not mine, charred, destroyed. Mr. Rourke, she said quietly, this component was used in an incident overseas 3 years ago. I stared at the photo, my vision blurred. That makes no sense, I whispered. I've never left the country, she nodded. That's what makes this serious. Then she leaned forward and said the sentence that changed everything. This wasn't lost, she said. It was planted. I swallowed. Planted for who? Her eyes didn't leave mine. For you, she said, or someone who wanted you to carry it. The room felt suddenly smaller. Why me? I asked. She hesitated, then said, that's what we're about to find out. A knock sounded on the door. An officer leaned in pale. Ma'am, he said, the bomb tech wants to speak to you. Now, she stood. At the door, she paused and looked back at me. Mr. Rourke, she said, I need you to stay right here. I nodded. The door closed. I sat alone again, heart racing, hands trembling. Because if that object was only a part, then somewhere out there, the rest of it existed. And somehow I had been chosen to carry the key. I sat alone in that gray room long after the supervisor left. No clock, no window, just the hum of fluorescent lights and the sound of my own breathing. I kept replaying her words. It was planted, not lost, not forgot, planted. That meant someone chose me. Someone knew my routine, my backpack, my habits. Someone knew I wouldn't panic. Someone knew I'd do the right thing and take it to the police. That's when the door opened again. 2 people walked in. One was the supervisor, the other I'd never seen before, mid-50s, gray suit, no badge, no uniform, government posture, the kind of man who never introduces himself unless he has to. This is Agent Keller, the supervisor said. Federal. My stomach tightened. Keller sat down slowly, folded his hands, and looked at me like I was a file he'd already read. Mr. Rourke, he said calmly, do you know how many people would have thrown that object away? I didn't answer. Most, he continued. Some would have sold it. A few would have hidden it. He leaned forward. But you walked it straight into a police station. I swallowed, because I didn't want trouble. He nodded. And that's exactly why you were chosen. The word hit me harder this time. Chosen for what? I asked. Keller slid a thin folder across the table. Inside were photos, street cameras, bus footage, grocery store stills, me everywhere. Someone's been watching you for weeks, he said, tracking your movements, timing your routes. My chest tightened. Why? Keller flipped another page, a passport photo, older, bearded, a name printed below it. Elias Vorn, you ever heard of him? Keller asked. I shook my head. Most people haven't, he said. He's a logistics broker. That didn't sound dangerous. Then Keller added, for weapons. The room went cold. 3 years ago, he continued, a device nearly identical to the component you carried was smuggled through civilian transit using an unwitting courier. I felt dizzy. The courier didn't know, Keller said. Didn't suspect a thing. I swallowed. What happened to him? Keller didn't answer right away. Then quietly, he didn't survive the interrogation by the people who lost the device. My hands went numb. So this thing, I whispered, was meant to be part of something bigger. Keller nodded. And someone wanted to know if the same method would still work. I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding. You used me as a test, I said. No, Keller replied. Someone else did. The supervisor spoke now. The device wasn't live, she said. But the casing, the markings, they're a signature. Of who? I asked. Keller answered. Someone who wants to move something without being seen. I looked down at my hands. And by bringing it here, I said, I ruined their plan. Keller's mouth twitched slightly. You disrupted it, he corrected. And you exposed yourself. The room fell quiet again. Then Keller asked something that didn't make sense. Mr. Rourke, he said, do you know why they didn't stop you? I frowned. Stop me from what? From coming here, he said. From handing it in. I shook my head. No, because, Keller said calmly, they needed to know how far you'd go. I stared at him. They wanted to see if you'd follow instructions, he continued, even unspoken ones. A chill crept up my spine. What instructions? I asked. Keller tapped the table once. To carry it, to not look too closely, to not open it. To deliver it somewhere safe. My throat tightened. And when I did, Keller nodded. They adjusted. The door opened suddenly. Another officer stepped in, breathless. They found it, he said. Everyone stood. Found what? I asked. Keller looked at me. The rest of it. They walked me down a long hallway into a secured briefing room. A screen lit up at the front. A map. Red dots, bus routes, public spaces, transit hubs. My vision blurred. Those are locations connected to Elias Vorn, Keller said. Then the screen changed. Another photo appeared, a backpack, identical to mine, same brand, same color. My stomach dropped. That was recovered an hour ago, the supervisor said. Where? I asked. Keller answered quietly. On a city bus. I couldn't breathe. Was it active? Keller nodded once. They disarmed it. I closed my eyes. Someone else had been carrying it. Someone innocent, just like me. Keller's voice cut through the noise in my head. Mr. Rourke, he said, whoever planted that component on you was watching to see if the police would react. And now, I asked. Now they know, he said, and now they'll change tactics. I felt a cold certainty settle in my chest. They won't let this go. No, Keller agreed. They won't. The supervisor stepped closer. We're relocating you, she said. Temporary protective custody. I shook my head. I didn't do anything wrong. That's not why, Keller said. Then why? He met my eyes. Because you're valuable. That word again. Valuable. As bait, I asked. Keller didn't deny it. He said something worse. As proof. Proof of what? That their system still works. The room felt too small. I stood up abruptly. I want to go home. Keller raised a hand. You can't. Why not? He answered calmly. Because whoever did this already knows where you live. The room went silent. The supervisor looked down. We found footage, she said. From last night. She clicked the remote. The screen showed my apartment building. A figure walked into frame, hood up, face obscured. They stopped at my mailbox, opened it, looked directly at the camera, then reached into their pocket and pulled out something small, the same shape, the same size, another component. They slipped it into my backpack through the unlocked side pocket. I felt sick. They were in my building, I whispered. Yes, Keller said, and they wanted you to know. The screen froze on the figure's face. Even blurred, I could see the smile. That's Elias Vorn, Keller said. He wanted us to see him. Why? I asked. Keller's voice dropped. Because he wants us to respond. A phone buzzed on the table. Keller checked it. His expression changed. They just did, he said. I looked at him. Did what? They made contact. The supervisor's phone rang too, then another officer's, then another. A coordinated alert. Keller turned to me slowly. Mr. Rourke, he said, Elias Vorn just sent a message. To who? I asked. Keller met my eyes. To us. Then he added, and to you. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I hadn't realized I still had it. Hands shaking, I pulled it out. Unknown number. One message. 5 words. You carried it perfectly. My blood ran cold. Keller read it over my shoulder. Then he said the sentence that ended any illusion of safety. He's not done with you, Keller said. He's just getting started. The message stayed on my screen longer than it should have. You carried it perfectly. 5 words, calm, confident, almost proud. My hands trembled so badly I had to sit down. Agent Keller watched my face change before I even handed him the phone. He read the message once, then again. Then he looked up at me with something new in his eyes, not suspicion, respect. That answers one question, he said. I swallowed. What question? Why you? He replied. The room felt suddenly heavier. Elias Vorn doesn't trust systems, Keller continued. He doesn't trust machines. He doesn't trust loyalists. I frowned. So what does he trust? Keller's voice was quiet. People who do the right thing even when no one is watching. That made my stomach turn. I didn't agree to any of this, I said. No, Keller replied, but you passed his test. The word hit hard, test. The supervisor spoke next. He's been running these trials quietly, she said. Planting harmless components on civilians. Harmless, I snapped. You locked down a police station. Harmless compared to the real thing, she said. He watches who panics, who runs, who sells, who ignores it. And me, I asked. You walked it in, Keller said. Calm, controlled, honest. I shook my head. So now what? He recruits me. Keller didn't answer right away. Instead, he asked something else. Mr. Rourke, he said, do you know why logistics networks are the hardest part of stopping violence? I shrugged weakly. Because they hide in plain sight, he answered. Delivery drivers, commuters, passengers, people no one notices. My chest tightened. He wants me to be invisible, I whispered. Yes, Keller said, and trustworthy. The supervisor leaned forward. And now he knows you are both. I laughed once short, bitter. I'm a 61-year-old retired accountant. Keller nodded. Exactly. They moved me to a secure room with thicker walls. No windows, one table, 3 chairs. Keller sat across from me. The supervisor stood by the door. This is the part where we give you a choice, Keller said. I frowned. Choice? Yes, he replied. Elias Vorn believes you're ready for the next step. My pulse spiked. And what do you believe? I asked. Keller met my eyes. I believe, he said, that if we refuse, he'll move on to someone else. I understood immediately. Someone younger. Someone less careful, someone who might not go to the police, someone who might not stop the next device. My mouth went dry. So you want me to play along, I said. We want you to listen, Keller corrected. To watch, to report. To be bait, I said. Keller didn't deny it. Yes, silence stretched. I stared at the table. I thought about the bus passenger, the identical backpack, the active device. I thought about how close that came to being a tragedy. You're asking me to put myself in danger, I said. Yes, Keller replied calmly. For how long? Until we shut him down. And if you can't, Keller didn't answer. That told me everything. My phone buzzed again. Keller raised a hand. Let it ring, he said. It stopped, then buzzed again. Unknown number. I looked at Keller. He nodded once. Answer it, speaker. I tapped the screen. Hello, I said, my voice unsteady. A familiar voice came through, smooth, controlled, confident. Daniel, Elias Vorn said. He said my name like we were old friends. I hope the officers are treating you well. My skin crawled. What do you want? I asked. A soft chuckle. Relax, he said. This isn't a threat. Keller's jaw tightened. It's an invitation. To what? I asked. To participate, Elias said. You've already proven you can be trusted. I swallowed. I didn't agree to anything. You didn't need to, he replied. Your actions spoke. Keller leaned closer. Daniel, he whispered, keep him talking. I nodded. Why me? I asked into the phone. Elias didn't hesitate. Because you didn't try to be a hero, he said, and you didn't try to be clever. That's your criteria, I asked. Yes, he said simply. Competence without ego. My heart pounded. And what happens if I say no? A pause. Then, nothing, Elias said. You'll go home, live your life. I didn't believe him. And the next person? I asked. Another pause, longer this time. They may not be as careful, he said, and people may get hurt. There it was, the quiet pressure, the moral trap. Keller's eyes told me he heard it too. So what do you want me to do? I asked. Elias smiled. I could hear it in his voice. Nothing dramatic, he said. Just carry something again, like before. My stomach dropped. What kind of something? A component, Elias replied. Inert, harmless. Keller shook his head subtly. Where? I asked. Tomorrow morning, Elias said. I'll tell you where to pick it up. And if I do, I asked. Silence. Then softly, then I'll find someone else. The line went dead. The room stayed quiet after the call ended. The supervisor exhaled slowly. That was him, she said. Keller nodded. Yes, they both looked at me. Well, the supervisor asked. I stared at my hands. I thought about my quiet life. My routine, my safety. Then I thought about the word harmless. How easily it could become a lie. I don't want anyone hurt, I said finally. Keller nodded. Neither do we. So I'll do it, I said, but not blindly. Keller leaned forward. You won't be alone, he said. We'll monitor everything. And if he suspects, I asked. Keller's voice dropped. Then it gets dangerous. I took a slow breath. When has it not been? I asked. A faint smile touched Keller's face. Welcome back, he said. They briefed me for hours. Routes, signals, emergency words. They fitted my phone with monitoring software. They gave me a second device to record audio. I memorized instructions like a man half my age. That night they moved me to a safe apartment. Bare, clean, temporary. I didn't sleep. At 6:02 a.m. my phone buzzed. A single message. Locker 17, Central Station, 7:15. My heart pounded. Keller stood by the door. Ready? He asked. No, I replied. But let's go. Central Station was already busy. Commuters, tourists, noise, normal life. Locker 17 sat near the restrooms. I walked calmly. I didn't rush. I didn't hesitate. I opened the locker. Inside was a small black pouch. Same weight, same size. I closed the locker and slipped the pouch into my backpack. My phone vibrated. A message. Perfect. I kept walking. Then another message came, this one longer. Now you understand why we chose you. But this time, you're not just carrying it. My chest tightened. I stopped walking. What does that mean? I whispered. Keller's voice crackled in my earpiece. Daniel, stay calm. Too late. My phone buzzed again. This time, the message read, you're being followed. I looked up slowly. Across the station, through the crowd, I saw a man watching me, and he was smiling. The man across the station never stopped smiling, not when people brushed past him, not when a train roared in behind me, not when my phone vibrated again in my hand. That smile wasn't confidence. It was confirmation. He knew I'd read the message. He knew I understood. My pulse thundered in my ears as Keller's voice came through the earpiece. Daniel, don't react. Keep moving. I forced my legs to work. One step, then another. The man followed at a distance, never rushing. Never losing sight of me, I exited the station into the cold morning air. Cars passed, buses hissed. Life went on, but I felt like the only person standing still in a moving world. Confirm visual, Keller said. I see him, I whispered. Mid-40s, gray coat, watching me like he already owns me. Copy, Keller replied. We have eyes on him too. That should have comforted me. It didn't, because Elias Vorn never relied on one man. He relied on systems. And systems had layers. My phone buzzed again, a new message. Don't worry, he's not the dangerous one. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? I whispered. Keller heard it in my voice. What's happening? He asked. Before I could answer, a hand brushed my shoulder. I flinched. An elderly woman smiled apologetically and kept walking. Normal, harmless, but something slid into my jacket pocket. I froze. Keller's voice sharpened. Daniel, what just happened? I reached into my pocket slowly and pulled out a folded piece of paper. My hands shook as I opened it. One sentence. Check your backpack. Now, my breath caught. No, I whispered. Daniel, Keller said urgently, do not stop. Too late. I stepped into a recessed doorway between two shops and slipped my backpack off my shoulders. I unzipped it. The pouch was still there, but it felt heavier. Wrong. I opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was the component, but now it had wires. My chest seized. Keller, I gasped, it's not inert anymore. Silence. Then Keller shouted, evacuate the area now. The street erupted into motion. Officers moved fast, shouting, clearing space. The smiling man across the street was gone, and my phone buzzed again. A call, unknown number. I answered without thinking. Elias Vorn's voice came through, calm as ever. Daniel, he said gently, I told you, you're not just carrying it anymore. You said it was harmless, I shouted. It was, he replied. When you picked it up, my knees buckled. You turned me into a bomb, I whispered. No, he corrected softly. I turned you into a message. My vision blurred. Why? I choked. Because now, Elias said, they'll have to choose. Choose what? I cried. Whether saving one good man is worth exposing their entire network. Keller's voice cut in, overlapping. Daniel, listen to me. We can disarm it. I need you to stay calm. I am calm, I whispered. I'm just terrified. Look inside the pouch, Keller said. There should be a secondary latch. I searched frantically. My fingers found it, a small switch, red, green, yellow. Which one? I asked. Keller hesitated. That depends, Elias said smoothly, still on the line. Depends on what? I screamed. On who you trust, Elias replied. I closed my eyes. Everything slowed. The street noise faded. The fear dulled. I thought about why he chose me. Not because I was brave, not because I was strong. Because I did the right thing when no one was watching. I opened my eyes. Keller, I said steadily, tell me the truth. A pause, then Keller said quietly, we can stop this device, but only if we let Elias walk. My heart cracked, and if we do, I asked. Then we save you, Keller said, and he disappears forever. I laughed once, a broken sound. So that's the choice, I whispered. My life or stopping him. Elias said nothing. He was listening, waiting. I looked at the switch again. Red, green. Yellow, I remembered Keller's words. People who do the right thing even when no one is watching. I know which one, I said softly. Daniel, Keller started. I flipped the switch. Yellow. The device went silent. No ticking, no hum, nothing. I collapsed to my knees. Officers rushed in. Hands grabbed my shoulders. The pouch was yanked away. Safe. Disarmed. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Elias. You chose well. Goodbye, Daniel. The number went dead. Forever. Weeks later, the story never made the news. It never does, but things changed. Networks were exposed. Shipments intercepted. Patterns broken. Elias Vorn vanished. No body, no trace, but his system collapsed. Agent Keller visited me once. You saved lives, he said. At a cost, I replied. He nodded. Worth it, he said. I still carry a backpack, still check it every morning. And sometimes, when I feel something heavy at the bottom, I smile, because now I know the truth. The most dangerous objects in the world aren't weapons, they're choices, and the right one can stop everything.